I'm just glad I can have the window open now because it's like gonna be in like the 70s and 80s all week.
Ooh.
It's that fancy.
What's the weather gonna be like here? Where's my weather app? Oh no, it's gonna be back up to the 90s.
Oh, blah. So, in a server I'm in, that's a bunch of writers on AO3, and we're mainly Overwatch writers. So we have a like translation assistance channel because Overwatch has multilingual people in it. So there's some French idioms, and it's one of those screenshot of a Tumblr post things where it's like French idioms are bizarre and they're very interesting when they're translated literally. So I'm not gonna try to say it in French, but like, so for example, to be lucky, literally to have one's bottom stuffed full of noodles. One says none of your business, and it literally means those are not your onions, which kind of makes sense. Like, that's not your business. What the fuck? Another one is to have a hangover, literally to have a wooden face, which also kind of makes sense because if you're hungover, your face is like, whoa. Also, there's a phrase that's used to describe very good wine that literally means baby Jesus in velvet trousers. It's making me giggle. I was like, well, yeah, baby Jesus would wear velvet trousers. Oh,
yeah.
Everybody loves baby Jesus. Sorry. Oh my god. And like sometimes we use the things to like personal headcanons for different characters, and this person who shared it was like, yeah, Gerard LaCroix would I feel like he would use this. I'm like, this close to saying he would use this for everything he likes. I'm like, yes, he would, because baby Jesus. Oh, all right. Baby Jesus. Praise baby Jesus.
Praise baby Jesus. Oh.
Why baby Jesus? Everybody loves baby Jesus. Okay, Cupcake will be here momentarily.
Yeah, he needs to do the old rebooty boot. Yep.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus. I am specifically referencing that movie, Talladega Nights, specifically because that's what I mean when I say like everybody loves baby Jesus. It's that movie. Why are you saying baby Jesus? Everybody loves baby Jesus. Oh. All right. And what am I looking for? That's what I'm looking for. Update. That's not what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Is it a way to shout into the void over your reproductive rights?
Thank you.
Nope. And she's gone.
Greetings and welcome to yet another bombastic episode of the super happy fun Jabbertron Tea Party podcast with Kiki, Cupcake, and Miss. Happy spring everybody, it's almost time for summer already, enjoy the show.
Yep,
I think it's working.
maybe.
Hang on. Every goddamn time I go to do something, it's like, this needs an update? I'm like, okay. Oh, now what? Update is complete. Okay. Well, then update it. I'm not. Why do you need my permission to update? Just update.
Cupcake!
You make sure nothing else is mad at me before I try to do anything else. Update failed? What? One more time, make sure nothing else needed updating. Okay. Close. Oh wow.
God,
It's really not happy. Let's see what's going on.
I'm like, Jesus, he's a blur.
Hang on. Let's see.
Welcome to
Logitech. Thought I finally had this fixed. It worked the last time. What the fuck? Sense on focus. Back. Well, there it went. That's so funny. It doesn't like with the autofocus off. It's fine. Alright. Okay, so we got that. I deleted a whole bunch of versions of this off my computer, and when I looked at it the last time, it like for the first time ever with the lights on, like auto fixed the color and everything, and now it's doing it again. So I don't know. You.
Thank you for calling the USGA.
About this camera. I'll check for updates. I don't think there's any updates. No, it's not. Back. Adjustments. No, not brightness. Surely not brightness. The light balance is working. Oh, that's so weird. Turn off auto exposure and auto blah blah blah, and it's fine. Let's see if I. Oh, too much. Now it's really not happy. Nope. Just making it worse. So it doesn't like that. As soon as I turn it off. Alright, whatever. It doesn't seem to like the lights. Just do that. Sit in the dark like some sort of monster. Now tell me. I give up. I give up. It works fine with the lights off. Don't know why it doesn't like the lights. Whatever. I'll just sit in the dark like some sort of creature of the night.
Isn't that, like, normal?
Why are you gonna hurt me like this? What did I ever do to you? And then the autofocus works in the dark. I give up. I give up. If I turn the lights off, everything is fine. I think the world is trying to tell me something. I should stay in the darkness where I belong.
I was about to say, aren't you already born with the darkness?
Right.
I'm just like, is this your natural status? Like, what?
Like, I try not to look like I just sit in the darkness all the time. Like, I'll turn the lights on, and it'll look like, I actually am a human being that exists in the sunlight. Nope. Nope. Pop this out.
Not just a human-shaped fungus. Our fun guy.
Yeah, you do. Fungus, fungi, mold, spore, whatever. Let's go. 3, I'm saying. I don't understand. I probably never will. Okay.
Jeez, my stupid nose.
So hi, Cupcake.
Greetings, humans.
How's the sentient Cupcake doing in the dark?
I'm alive.
That's good. There's a TikTok creator that I follow, and I was like, I'm not a forever DM, but I feel called out because she was like, "So hey, my forever DMs, how is that book writing coming along?" And I'm like, "Fuck you." Why am I being called out?
How dare they?
I was like,
Those unmitigated monsters.
I was like, I'm writing short stories. Leave me alone.
You really want to feel called out? You look at this fucking comic. Jesus Christ.
Hold up. Let me come find it. Yeah, that too. It's like I'm still everything else. I'm just hydrated now.
Yep.
Been laughing so much, and my nose is like, yeah. Can you blow me, please? Thanks. Get all the phlegmy phlegm out. I guess I could join in on the computer, and if I get a call, I could just deafen. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just here.
Do whatever makes you comfortable.
Anyways. Because I had to pick up on the iPad earlier because I was like, oh, I'm going to call and there's Miss Kiki and
Damn work and it's work.
it's work. How dare I?
So have you seen the new Lego Transformer? Well, the new Lego Optimus Prime, I should say.
No, not at all.
It actually transforms.
Well, that's exciting.
Which means it can be like $100.
Somehow I imagine it's got to be more than $100.
It's like 170, I want to say.
That seems much more doable. That's like the actual like transformer or whatever. Yeah. That was like 750. Like, it's a toy for children. Like, it's a toy for 50-year-olds. Shut up. There's probably not many 10-year-olds who are like, Transformers, fuck yeah. I don't think it's been on TV in like about a decade. I mean, although what really is TV at this point, so.
Valid. Although I think there's a new show in the works.
Well, I mean, there's always a new show in the work. It's anime, but like, you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
There's probably a new TMNT in the works, too.
Yeah, that... Oop, I'm getting a phone call.
Yeah.
Okay. Just someone trying to sell me auto insurance.
Wouldn't they be, like, better off trying to do that to your husband?
You would think.
Fair enough.
What were we talking about?
I have no
Transformers?
idea. Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Cartoons for old people.
Yes. I mean, I do know that there is a new TMNT out. There's also a new TMNT game that's
Interesting.
retro looking.
Interesting.
Because that'll make us buy
Yeah.
it.
Well, they're rapidly getting to the point where, like, the next group of people they're going to be picking on are the people who were kids, like, in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Which is hard because so much shit in the 2000s was derivative that there's not really, like, a lot of, like, oh, you remember this? Wasn't this great? It's like, yeah, but it was all rehashes of things from, like, the 80s.
Yeah.
And 90s to some extent.
I don't know. I just. I'm just here, you know?
Well, we're all just here.
I mean, we are not the kids anymore, so, like,
We haven't
none
been the
of this
kids
really
for a while.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Great. This lady's on break.
Woo, break.
Take my headphones off for a minute. Because, yeah.
Oh my God. What?
What?
Everybody wants Cupcake's attention.
My mother's homesick because she had a stomach ache this morning and, like, couldn't stop using the bathroom. We actually drove her to work and then she got a ride home because it just wasn't stopping.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
That sucks.
But she's like, we don't know what it was. She doesn't think it was food poisoning, but, like, something was making her just, like, because it wasn't like, you know, it's not like diarrhea. She just couldn't stop going. That's the way she described it.
No fun. Oh my God, I still remember the food poisoning hubby and I got where it was coming out both ends. Ugh. That was a fun ride home. At least at least I only threw up on the way home. Thank the gods. I didn't do anything else. And I had a, plastic bag from the store that I could be like, all right, it's empty, open, hurt. All right.
So, they cast Christopher Walken in Dune 2.
Oh, they did?
As the Emperor.
Oh, I was about to say, is he Shaddam?
He is Shaddam.
I'm sorry. I was like, is he the Emperor? Just because I'm like, who is the right age range for him? The Emperor Shaddam. I just love how I eat that like right away. That's hilarious. Hi, sausage. Are you taking a break from the sunspot? Yeah, you're just gonna stare at me? Yeah. Okay. Oh. All right. And I know the actress's name, but I know they also cast they also have someone for Airline already. And I don't know what else. Like if I saw her, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's it." But I can't remember
Okay.
Let's see here. Cast. Oh, I think it's Florence Pugh. I think
That name doesn't ring bells.
Let's see here. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. Oh, it's rumored. She's rumored.
Oh.
Yeah. But let's see here. Let's click on her name. She's known for The Falling, her film debut, Lady Macbeth, Outlaw King, Fighting with My Family. Oh, she's the main actress in Midsummer. That horror movie rehash.
Oh. That was actually pretty good.
So. I think also it was rumored that the main actress from The Queen's Gambit was also considered for Airline. I think they're both like the tall, willowy, light-haired, graceful ladies. So, yeah. Yes, little sausage, you are a cutie patootie. So I just lay in here and I'm staring towards Mom. Because Mommy is my favorite person in the whole world.
Ring goes to sleep on the bed behind me.
Of course. Baxter says that it is starting his favorite time of year because it's warm enough that I can have the front sunspot and sun myself and I get my old bones on the sun in the warmth and stretchies. Interesting. I'm like sitting here cuddling because we have the front. We still have the front window shades open from when hubby was working from home, and random red car sitting by the tree lawn. Yes, I see the car. Thank you, Stinky. I don't know what's going on. It looks like someone's singing it. I don't know why they're just kind of chilling. Sus. Oh, I know. Thank you. Thank you for warning Mommy. You do a good job. Yes. I think, yeah, I'm all out of that. Okay. I had to think for half a second. I'm like, am I out of those beans? Yes, I'm out of those beans. Oh, yes. So next week, I'm becoming a godmother again.
Oh!
Yeah, so, yeah, I know Cupcake and I were talking about becoming a godparent. But hubby is a Christian witness, quote unquote, because he's not Catholic. So, And Baxter has to woof at someone. But it was so adorable. So last week we met them for same family, but their eldest just made his first communion. And the little guy got so confused because he was like, because he realized like him and his two siblings will have 3 different godparents. So he was like, does that mean we all have to go live with them? I won't see my siblings anymore. It's like, honey, that's not how it works. It's okay. Oh, not how that works. I know it's confusing. I know you're only 8 years old, but it's not how it works.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, this weekend I'll be looking at a specific spring type dress that is like, okay, does this fit me, or do I need to go to the store? Because I'm gonna go to the store anyways to get like a different sweater thingy to put over it, because it's like white base with a bunch of springy flower colors. And so if I wear something white, it kind of washes me out. So go get something that's like, salmon or purple or green or whatever. So I was like, I gotta try this on and make sure, like, does this actually fit me? Because I got it when I was heavier. So, not saying it wouldn't fit me, but this is gonna look great, etc. So,
Yay?
yay.
Okay, yay.
Yay. Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm going
Okay.
in the right direction. Or the direction I want it to go, And let me see here. I need to walk back up the stairs. Let's see here. Because I'm like, you could look at the tag. Because, those tags, they're pretty helpful. 20 wide. Yeah, this is going to fit me. Yeah, this is going to fit me. It's just a matter of, it's white base with, like, daisy looking flowers on it. So I have another one in here where it would work, but it's one of those, crap, hold on a minute, how big are you? 1X. But it's one of those that's like straight up and down, like with no waistline. So it's like, like, would this even look good on me? Like, no, like, waist on it. That one's too long. That one's too formal. Wrong colors. That one. I guess I could wear one of these, but they're not quite formal. Like, it's like weird. And that one definitely, that's like I'm wearing this to the beach kind of schlitzits. I mean, I technically could wear that, but I'm gonna be a godparent. I need to look. For me, it's like I need to look a little bit like less like I'm wearing a moo dress than. Well, that's just my brain going like I need to look nice, right?
Must look good for a religious event.
Yes, welcome to one section of possible religious training / brainwashing / trauma. And when I first started going back to church after years and years, like I showed up dressed all nice, and people showed up in like nice jeans, khakis, and like some kids showed up in like athletic shorts, and I'm sitting there going, "Why the fuck am I dressed up then?" Like, I'm never coming dressed up like this again if it's how people are dressing now. Like,
Don't even get me started on church and fucking clothing, because I refused to go dig through my closet for my dress shoes, which I haven't worn since I worked at Radio Shack back in the day. And, like, I wore just my regular sneakers that I wear to work, and everybody's like, oh. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh. Yeah. And I saw my one cousin wearing shoes that I thought were sneakers. I was like, I'm glad to see somebody else has a sense of humor. And he's like, these are dress shoes. And I look down again, I'm like, oh yeah, they're both suede shoes. What do you know?
yeah.
So I was the only person at a funeral with sneakers on, and therefore I was trouble.
Well, you were trouble.
Yeah, well, in my defense, they also spent time trying to talk me into coming back to church, and I was like, this is not the time or the place.
Yeah. I would have been like, you do not want to hear the words I have to say about church right here, right now. I have too much respect for the person.
It wasn't just that. This, you know, my mother works for the Catholic school that my grandfather's funeral was at. So like, I can't start any shit because I don't want her to be fired.
Yeah, that too.
So I just sat there quietly, but I'm just in the back of my head, I'm thinking, you are so lucky that she is not retired, because if she was, oh, you would not be happy to be here.
Yeah. I actually told my mom once, because we were having a conversation. I was like, my internal filter is extremely strong. Because there are things I will not say to people, because you will not understand where I'm coming from. And it's not because you won't try to understand or anything like that. It's just, I'm not going to tell my mom certain things because she just won't understand because of the way she was raised and what she believes. And it's like, I'm just not going to tell you some of my beliefs because, well, you're going to be very sad. As you were a little bummed I didn't get married in a church. And you wanted to send us to Catholic school, but it was too expensive. Which I thank God. I could tell her that. I'm like, I thank God that we did not go to Catholic school. Thank you. I learned just fine going to public school and PSR. Thank you very much.
I never had to worry about such things, but, you know, my mom's a non-practicing Episcopalian and my dad was agnostic, so I'm not even baptized. I didn't do much religion growing up unless it was like somebody else's thing, like a wedding or a baptism or whatever.
Yeah.
Because then you behave and go as a good guest.
Yeah. Yeah. You are at what is like base level for decent human being. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she'll never forget. Oh my God. So one of the first weddings that hubby and I went to was my cousin. And oh my God, 20 years ago, almost. And this is when I first started gaining weight, right? And with PCOS, your weight is carried around your waist. That's where it likes that chill. So I'm not 21 yet. I wasn't a drinker at all. I was just like, whatever. I don't feel like drinking, whatever. So, groom's mom comes over, and while patting me on the stomach, oh, we're not drinking, are we? I was like, I'm not 21, and ran away. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what are you're insinuating? I like ran to hubby. I was like, Jeff, she just said I was insinuate I was fucking pregnant. That's why I wasn't drinking. I was so mortified. I'm like, oh my god. Because, like, several of the bridal party, like, the party members, like, the mother-in-law and the bridesmaid, my cousin, like, they were pre-gaming. They were drinking before the wedding and before the reception. So it's like, hi, you're, like, 3 drinks in. So your filters are, like, sayonara. But I was just like, really? Like, you assume something and you also, like, went to go ahead and pat my stomach? Like, what? What? Like, can we say bodily autonomy? Just get the fuck away from me. Go.
Nope. You're a woman. You're just a baby making machine.
Also, where's my sandwich?
It's on its way to hell.
Good, I'm already there.
It's so ingrained in our societies that other women perpetuated it onto other women.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, not pregnant, just fat.
I might just steal a response. Because this didn't actually have I haven't had a miscarriage, disclaimer. But I've seen a post where it's like, oh, you haven't had a child yet? I've had 5 miscarriages. Awkward silence. And then saying, and now I hope we've learned a lesson about asking such personal questions.
Yeah, unless you're like, I don't know, maybe a relative, maybe. You really shouldn't ask people certain things.
Yeah.
Or just assume things about them.
Yeah. I had a coworker, we were talking, and she was like, and she's a nice person. So I didn't really get angry at this point, because I know she didn't mean to, like, hurt my feelings or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, we've been married for about 10 years. So she's like, 10 years and no kids yet? I'm like, nope. Nope. I was like, there's so much, like, societal expectation of what a marriage looks like between a man and a woman, at least. That's like, or, you know, the whole, like, you get married, you have kids, get the house, get the dog, 2.5 kids with a white picket fence. American dream shit. And it's like, so I kind of understand, like, the assumption of, oh, you guys are married, so I'm assuming you're having sex without protection in some form. And you're not pregnant yet? Nope. Peace. But
Every time somebody asks me why I don't have kids, just go, you ever get too close to a nuclear pile?
yep.
Ooh.
Oh. It's like I didn't even start getting normal menstrual cycles until I started losing weight. Imagine that.
It's a shock how much us being fat motherfuckers affects, like, all the natural human cycles and whatnot.
Yeah. It's like me, like, having these conversations with my mom and, like, sitting there thinking, like, yeah, these are all nice, like, suggestions, but I kind of need to have a period first. Like, I need to ovulate first. Don't you know? Like, and if I'm not having my period, guess what else is not happening?
That could be worse. You go to menopause in your 30s.
Yeah. Which is another thing. I don't know when I'm going to hit menopause because my mom had a hysterectomy before she was my age. So I'm like, I have no idea when I'm actually going to hit menopause.
Well, going off my mother hitting it isn't anything to go off of. I don't envy any of you when it happens.
Yeah. I know a mutual friend of ours, Cupcake, is following her mom's example of hitting menopause in their mid-30s.
Right.
And it's like, oh my god. She's like, yeah, hot flash. And yeah, this fucking sucks. Yeah. I'm like, at least this person and their partner knew, like, we don't want kids. So, it was like, yeah.
Yeah, my mom went into menopause. I don't remember exactly when, just that it was early. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So glad I'm a dude.
Also, like, talking to my mom, she's like, yeah, and your grandma's next door neighbor, who, by the way, both of them are high school sweethearts, so I went to high school with them. So I know both of them for many, many years now. Yeah, she was also having trouble having kids, and she did acupuncture, and it helped her out. That was the last thing she did before she got pregnant. I'm just sitting there going, just because it worked for someone's thinking, like, just because it worked for so and so does not mean it's going to work for me.
What you do is drink a whole lot of pickle juice. How was that supposed to work? I don't know. I just think it'd be funny.
Or, like, eat a bunch of fish. Isn't there, like, a why I still eat a specific
Probably.
fish? And
Probably.
But it's just like, and of course, my one aunt years ago, like, oh, we're praying for you. I'm like, so if anyone says that to me, I'm gonna start. I feel like start saying stuff like, well, what if it's God's plan that I do not have children? I'm going against God by trying to have children. Start turning their little religion around on them. Like, yeah, we believe God has a plan for all of us. So, well, if it's God's plan, I don't have kids. Shut the fuck up. Don't talk to me about this. I'm tired of hearing it.
But no.
Which also argues the point against a benevolent God, but I digress. Because that means some children lived a fucked up life because that's what God decided. So yeah, yeah.
Speaking
So,
of
yeah,
God,
you're gonna live a
religion, and
fucked up
whatnot.
life. Anyways.
Have you heard about
That's
this?
what the hell?
The Church of the Prismatic Light?
Nice. Immediately I'm like, can I join that?
So, essentially, Tiffany, how do you say that? Holloway's 16-year-old is trans, and they live in fucking Alabama, where it's not easy to be trans. So she made a church to give her LGBTQ youth, which includes her own family, protections under Alabama law.
Well, okay.
Sorry, someone shared a song in another Discord server, and it's titleless. You call me a bitch like it's a bad thing. Sorry, I'm like it. Um.
I will be right back. Miss anything?
All right.
Not particularly.
Okay.
Alrighty. Greetings.
Greetings.
Alright. I'm back from break.
Oh, that reminds me. HookHausen is real.
What's real?
Apparently, yes. I'm told these are truths.
It's a wrestling thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, that GIF you posted earlier.
Yeah. This is something we were all looking forward to that actually happened.
And all I saw was a bunch of very upset fanboys. I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
There's a lot of complaints that they're squandering the talent, but I don't know how that's supposed to work when it's a storyline. There could not be a storyline, or you don't even want to call it like a...
They could easily just not give those two TV time. This way they get TV time.
What I kept saying was people being like, do you know how many people deserving of more time got it that they're not gonna get that should have got it because these two nuts? And I'm like, oh Jesus, okay, all right, never mind.
Jeez. I'm sorry that your favorite wrestlers didn't get to do it, but
they were complaining about that. But what it generally boiled down to was just like they had hopes that some other talent would, like, there's 160 wrestlers signed to AEW right now, and like they're not utilizing them. And I'm like, okay, well, you could have just said that
instead of being an ass.
It's like, yeah, you're being a major butthole right now, butthurt right now. Like,
well, the problem is this goes into a much wider issue of Americans in general are not being educated enough and are incapable or unable to express themselves in a reasonable way.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
We're not being taught good personal skills, body autonomy, and our own justice system.
Right. Like, in general, it's a whole societal thing of it being like, they're not... You know, like, the guy's outraged and incensed and everything, but what ends up happening is it's really... His complaint isn't that those two are getting TV time. His complaint is that they've signed all these people who are not getting that time, and... Well, like, you know, in this case, the person in question, who I didn't even really pay attention, but just was like, listening to the argument they were making, is basically what it really needs to work down to is given the amount of talent they're signing, they need another night of wrestling,
which they probably won't get.
Yeah.
Because
never know. They just get nothing, Keeks.
I highly doubt it. Like, maybe they'll get more pay-per-views? But that doesn't equal getting more people on TV. That just equals the people who are already on TV getting more
what they need to
matches.
Do is leverage Twitch and YouTube as a medium in order to exert storyline. Oh my god. Can you imagine that?
Dude,
oh, yeah,
that would be interesting.
I think people don't want to hear it, but I really think that, like, that has become the new media in which the American public, I don't want to say absorbs, but watches media. Where's this? Oh, I see. So, I mean, like, I haven't watched, like, TV in forever in a day.
Same.
You can currently watch a lot of clips and some matches on AEW's YouTube page. So they're they're doing at least that, which is more than the WWE is doing.
Let me put it to you this way. I don't know who half these wrestlers are, but I can tell you right now that Ethan Page and Danhausen love to collect old action figures. And I know this because Ethan Page has a weekly YouTube show or YouTube whatever that his channel does in which they and other wrestlers go out toy hunting. And it is entertaining as shit. Like, these guys are funny. They are funny and they are entertaining. They're not just good athletes. They're legitimately entertaining people. I can't think of her name, but something Luna does a show where she reviews Mexican food. And there's an episode with Danhausen, and it is some of the funniest. Yes.
Ah.
She has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And there's an episode with Danhausen, and that's the only reason I found out she has a YouTube channel, because somebody was like, "Hey, Danhausen is on her show this week. They're reviewing tacos," and I'm like, "That's got to be very, very silly." And it was very, very silly. The man, Donovan Danhausen, is a hell of a person to begin with. Like, I know I fanboy over him a lot, but, like, legitimately listening to the man talk out of character, like, this whole shtick with Danhausen is borderline amazing. Like, there's not a lot of wrestlers doing this anymore. Like, this is a revitalization to me of, like, the wrestling I remember from the late 80s and early 90s of, like, it's okay to be campy. It's okay to be fun. It's okay to be, like, family friendly.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't all have to be, you know, grim, dark, sweaty men beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a big part of wrestling, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a wide variety, so you catch as many people to be in your audience as possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, like finding out that there's a whole swath of wrestlers in AEW who are not only like legitimately funny people outside of the characters they're playing, but are all toy nuts. Like, I found this out because Evil Uno has a vlog, and he's friends with Danhausen, who is friends, and they're all friends with Ethan Page, and they're all collectors. And there's other guys, I forget who the other dudes are because I don't know them as well. But like, there's like a half a dozen dudes that have YouTube channels who are wrestlers who wrestle together at AEW, who have their own things in which they each interact with each other in their vlog. Like, almost invariably every week there's something with Danhausen, there's something with Evil Uno, Ethan Page. Those are the three I pick out because I always see them and all this stuff. But I'm saying, like, all these guys have vlogs, and all these guys have each other on their weekly episodes. And don't even get me started on Danhausen reviews snacks. Because that bit every couple weeks is absolutely hilarious. Including the one in which somebody sent him 50 pounds of circus peanuts.
Oh god.
There's an episode from like 6 months ago in which he gets a giant box, he opens it up. It's nothing but orange marshmallow circus peanuts. And you
not that I'm like, you know, putting those things down, but they're an acquired taste. Like,
oh, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, like, I'm going like, what? Where is... But yeah, it was like this. It's just this moment of like, where do you go? But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I've never been a huge like the actual wrestling isn't what sells it to me, but like the interactions between the people are just they're just amazing. It's even when it's not storyline, it's funny.
Yeah.
And there's the last episode of the toy hunting thing with Ethan Page. They opened up like this. They were at this toy store in Texas, and they opened up this glass case full of highly valuable action figures. And while the guy's grabbing Ethan Page something, Denhausen reaches over the guy's back, grabs an incredibly rare action figure, and starts walking away. And Ethan Page is like, "Hey, Denhausen, where are you going with that?" He's like, I was going to pay for it. Yes, definitely was going to pay for it. Wasn't going to steal it. No, not that at all. I'm just like, well. And the fact that the guy, the store, like the clerk or whatever, didn't just like he went along with it. He didn't like ruin the bit. Was amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like he could have been like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?"
But he was like, "Yo, I'm just gonna go along with it."
But I'm pretty sure he realized that like he was gonna buy it, but it was just like,
yeah.
okay. But anyway, yes. HookHausen is a thing, and we're all excited. Okay, well, Kiki's mostly excited. I'm just here.
Rawr.
Excitement!
Well, how did you...
So, I may try this.
Try what?
Joining on the computer and deafening if I get a phone call.
Okay.
So, one moment.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Alrighty.
That sound quality improvement, woo.
Yeah, because I'm not speaking into, like, iPad fucking microphone.
Right. So
I'm see, make sure I know that's deafen and mute. Okay, hold on.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that hitting deafen would also mute. Because I
right.
deafen, so.
Right. If you deafen generally on I think you have to tell it you don't want it to mute. But I've never seen a scenario where somebody didn't want to hear but wanted to be able to speak.
Exactly.
Certainly the thing we've been talking about, I finally reached the Ewok village on Endor in Lego Star Wars, and they're adorable! Adorable! Even as Lego dudes!
Oh my gosh, that's...
Well, I would hope so in a Lego game.
There we go. Oh, sorry, I was like, I'm still typing away at my month of May little short story thing. So I'm like, I'm slowly getting, because we're doing it like a crack fic that's just totally off the wall.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm already working on Mermaid. And then I was like, well, small little like ocean babies or water babies look like little beans. And we have Reaper, and a lot of fan fiction and fan art includes Reaper beans. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be my crack part of this. It's the Reaper beans. I need to get there. And about 8 pages later, we're kind of getting close.
Okay. So I saw the new Doctor Strange movie. And it was pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. Needed just...
Kiki sees...
Huh?
So Kitty sees all the cool things.
Yes, all the cool things. Watches like maybe a quarter of the cool things, but yes.
Are you saying you like fall asleep or like
Huh?
you see all the cool things, you only watch a quarter of them? So what, you like fall asleep in most of them, or like what?
No, I'm just not actually watching a lot of stuff.
Well, me either, but you know,
Yeah.
part of life.
There's certain things I'm trying. Like Marvel
Dude, tell me.
crap.
I just can't keep up with it. Like I like at this point, the amount of like Marvel TV series I would have to. Somebody told me that basically, in order to understand the new Doctor Strange, you have to have watched like a whole bunch of the TV shows. I'm just like, well, that's out for me. I'm not doing that again.
All you have to watch is WandaVision.
For what?
The new Doctor Strange.
Yeah, to understand why Wanda is a little bit salty about
Whatever.
how they treat her and how they treat Doctor Strange. Yeah, WandaVision. I mean, I can't give it TLDR spoiler.
I mean, you could read a synopsis and then go watch it.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to see it in theaters anyway because I don't go to.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to.
Because everybody decided that the preventative measures for fucking transmitting horrible pandemic disease were no longer important. I'm not going near mass gatherings.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
My only complaint is I felt it needed a little bit more multiverse stuff. But there's only so much you can fit in a movie, so it was alright.
Isn't Picard in this? Or a version of Picard?
Not Picard, Xavier.
Yeah, Xavier. Professor X.
Yeah.
Professor X. Forgot. Because as soon as I saw that part of the trailer, I was like, oh snap. I hear a familiar voice. Hello, Mr. Stewart.
Yes.
Which actually makes sense. Because that's kind of how you can tie the X-Men verse into like the rest of the MCU it's the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can have the shit that happens with, because I know that Wanda also deals with she's in the X-Men verse as well as the MCU because of this, but like, because the shit that happens in both verses, you're like, how do we not see like mention of this in this other verse, like in this other comic run? Because you have like a lot of highly powered individuals dealing with a lot of damage and damage control. So it's like, I'm like the events of whatever it was, the one movie, Avengers movie with the out of control AI, and there's a huge floating city, and it's like, so you don't see anything about that in any of the X-Men stuff, at least as far as I know. I don't read the comics. The comics could have addressed it. I'm fully aware that I don't read those. I'm mainly the movie and TV watcher. So.
Oh, pardon me. I don't read the comics anymore just because it's expensive to keep up with everything. I read about the comics now.
Right.
So, but the comics don't have that high of a bearing on the MCU movieverse. Other than that's where they're pulling some of their ideas from. And now that they've opened the door for a multiverse setting, they can pull in more characters that they kind of shut the door on earlier by not having things like mutants or what are the other ones called? Inhumans.
Well, they didn't have, I mean, the whole problem is they didn't have the foresight is, or hindsight is 2020. It's like we were talking about the other time, like, well, why didn't we even like? Well, they didn't do this because they didn't have the rights. There's so many things that have, like, 20 years ago, the right holders were completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got the burpees.
I know the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like TV show, like after a certain point, like, you know, like first maybe 2 seasons, you have the effects of the movies. Maybe like 2 to 3 seasons, you have the effects of the movie still affecting because I'd have to like look at the synopsis of each season because it's been a while since I've actually watched through it all since it's
Right.
over. But at least the first 2 to 3 seasons, you still have the effects of like Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man, et cetera, et cetera. So you have like cameos by, Maria Hill, Nick Fury, things like that early on. And I know at some point, like they they had an interesting, because they actually do a like we were in a time loop and now we broke the time loop, so we're technically in a different timeline. So technically, like, they're now in their own different multiverse of the multiverse. They're in their own little bubble of the multiverse because they broke that loop that they were in for so long. And so you can argue, because you can argue that the Inhumans maybe, because you also have the thing where like after a certain point, like at the end of a season, because you have like the little, like the chair genesis period, like the crystal thing, that if you touch it or if it's like aerosolized, you basically either become a rock forever or you go through the metamorphosis to become an Inhuman. That falls into the ocean, gets eaten by fish. Fish are caught, made into fish oil, and then people are taking their fish oil vitamins and are going through this process. So you kind of have the thing where it's like they may have retroactively like said like, oh, this is a different, at a certain point in this TV show, they veered from like even earlier than like the time loop thingy that they were doing one season. They verged from that, which is why you don't see Inhumans in the movies. So I don't know. Because that was my thing. I'm like, well, I understand if it's not with like the X-Men because the X-Men are in their own little universe, but for me it was like, well, just looking at like, if you are just looking at like, well, if the TV show also has some bearing up to a point on the original MCU, then where are the Inhumans and where, but they may not. It also may be overshadowed by the snap and what's going on with Thanos. So you kind of have to, and it's kind of going like really deep into like why you may not see it, and as Kiki said earlier, there's only so much you can include in a movie without it clogging up the movie and clogging up whatever story you're trying to tell. So it's like, we're just gonna treat it like it's a normal thing.
This has absolutely nothing to do with anything, but I just saw it on my newsfeed. Greece has banned conversion therapy.
Oh yeah.
Praise baby Jesus.
So yay Greece. But going back to the MCU thing, yeah, the multiverse thing again allows them more, especially now that they're doing the Disney shows, options.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
you have
Miss Marvel won't be an Inhuman. She's her own different thing from the comics now in the MCU movieverse.
Right.
I don't exactly know where her powers come from exactly. They're the same powers, they just come from a different origin now.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I know that, it was WandaVision, and I still have to watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But those two take place, like, right after, like, the snap and people coming back and etc. So those, like, happen, like, right after. So that's dealing with those three main characters like that. I know there's a Loki show, which also can be argued that he's now in his own little multiverse.
Oh, he is very much in his own little multiverse.
Because, oh my god, I don't know if you guys have seen the first season, but, and I sincerely think that Tom Hiddleston should win an award for how he's portraying Loki over the past fucking 10 years. because so he's had the character development of Loki from the first Thor movie to the last Avengers movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of trying to be a better being, right? In Loki, so Loki starts off with in the first fight, like the Avengers, the Infinity War, the first one, where they go back in time and they're collecting the Infinity Stones, and they go back to the events of the first Avengers movie where they get Loki and they're taking him back to Asgard. So and they kick the Tesseract gets slid. It hops out of the little suitcase, goes over to Loki, and Loki looks down, bends over, picks it up, and he's gone, just like that. And everybody was like, "What the fuck?" So it picks up with that. It starts off with that scene, and then he ends up in like Mongolia, somewhere in Asia, around Mongolia or somewhere like that. I'm making an assumption. I don't know if that's where he actually ended up. It's just folks with Asian features. And he starts this whole my name is Loki, blah blah. So he's going back to Loki in his I just got taken over by Thanos. I've just been, I'm just coming off of being tortured by Thanos and under Thanos' control, under the Tesseract's control. I'm still a little bitch of a god. And thank you for.
And she's gone. I have nothing to say about Marvel stuff because I haven't watched anything since basically the Endgame movies.
Mm. The only thing I haven't seen yet is Moon Knight.
It stars Poe Dameron.
Which I'll probably start watching here in a little bit. Because I'm looking forward to it. It's supposed to be very good. And I love Moon Knight because he is batshit crazy.
That's what I'm hearing.
In both the, oh my, these people have mental illnesses / this is just crazy funny kind of way.
Right.
It's, depending on who's writing him, it's always been a good balance of both.
Right.
Like, there's the one where he thinks that Spider-Man controls spiders and is spying on him.
Okay. All I know is I saw a clip of the new show, and there's a part where, he's like, what am I doing here? Like, oh, the idiot's awake. Go back to sleep. I don't want to. No, I need the other guy to take over. Okay. He wakes up and, he's driving a truck down the side of a mountain pass. He's like, what the hell? He's like, go back to sleep.
Okay. I hate it when that happens. So he has to go back to the beginning of how he first portrayed Loki and then do a separate character development based on the events that happened in the Loki the TV series. So it's yeah, give this man an award for portraying this character, please. Give him all the awards. Just give him all the awards. But that's just my little bias on that character and that actor. So yeah.
It was a really good show.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the next season.
Oh yes, most
and
100%.
How that will better portray timelines and the multiverse and lead to more interesting things.
Yes. And then there's the What If, which truly said, here's the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are multiverses where Peggy Carter was Captain Britain, where, there's a zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
all that jazz.
I suppose you have to kind of watch What If to watch Doctor Strange.
Do they reference what happens in the Doctor Strange episode of What If? In the movie?
No, it has to do more with Peggy.
Okay.
They
Although I will say,
they do reference the concept that Doctor Strange is not wholly, in all forms, a good guy.
Yeah.
Because he is a person.
True.
And your elements that happen to you help define who you are.
Right.
Because I know the Doctor Strange What If episode was, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
Mm-hmm.
And goes based off of that. And it's like, hi there. You're not very nice, Doctor Strange. And, it also highlights the Watcher character, and that the Watcher has to see all of what is happening and cannot interfere. He sees what's happening with Doctor Strange. He cannot stop what is happening. He knows what will happen if Doctor Strange finishes that arc, and he cannot stop it because that's not his job.
No, he just
Right.
watches.
Yeah. And Doctor Strange in that episode actually sees the Watcher and begs for help, and the Watcher's like, sorry, bucko.
To you, it was the greatest day of your life, but to me, it was just Tuesday.
Thank you, Raul Julia. Sorry.
It's still one of the, it's a stupid movie. It's a great line from them, I don't understand why you won't help. Well, to you, it was the most important day of your life, but to me, it was just Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Although I will say the Thor one, when I was watching it because I wasn't getting calls at work, so I was watching it. And I know a lot of us were like, we want to see more of Loki as a frost giant. And in the Loki TV show, you see, for 5 seconds, a 3-inch, hologram of a Jotun Loki, right? Well, I was listening and I perked up because I was like, is that Tom Hiddleston? And then it turns and it's like, I literally had to stop because I was screaming in joy because I was like, yay, show Mr. Frost Giant! Oh my god! Just yelling in joy because I was like, we get to see him as an actual frost giant. And literally, he bends over and to shake Thor's hand, Thor being the normal Asgardian height, he sticks out his pinky, and Thor uses his entire hand to shake the pinky. Oh my god, it's so great. I'm sorry, I'm fangirling a little bit, but that was just my little yay moment. See, there has to be gifts in here, please. Oh, thank God. What you're showing him? That's his human form, doo-doo heads, and that's a completely separate franchise. What the fuck? That's a monster from a video game or a movie. What the hell? I'm sorry, my brain is what the fuck? They're showing him somewhat in his Jotun human size form, but the rest of it's no, that's not what I'm looking for. But there you go. I was so happy. I was like, it's not because he was shirtless, okay? It's not only because of that. I'm just saying,
I like that. Not because of that. Well, not only because of that.
Hey!
But no.
Look,
Yes, no.
If I can enjoy harem animes for the story, you guys can enjoy shirtless men.
Oh, I enjoy everyone shirtless.
Oh, I know you do. You're into fucking cookware, so...
Oh, I'm so glad I swallowed before it.
She knew that was coming when she said that. She just didn't know if I was going to have the balls to pull it off or not.
Oh yes, the balls.
Alright, the ovaries, whatever. And see, the best part of all this is that's a multi-layered joke.
And that gif just shows the hand gesture. the at the very end of the gif, it's so funny because we actually had to. There was a group of us who watched each episode of this. We actually had to stop and we're like, "Did you catch that? Did you catch that?" This is just. I'm sorry. We're all like, ugh. So I think that's not. What's his face? I know exactly what that character is. I just can't remember his name. Because my brain was like Heimdall. I'm like, no, motherfucker, that's not Heimdall. What are you talking about? Baldur, I think. I think that's what I'm trying to think of. And what I also like is that the Loki series shows what happens when someone is so focused and dedicated on one agenda, one end goal, that they do not listen to any or they try to listen to reason, but in the end they're like, no, I've spent my entire life working towards this goal, even though, like, what happens at the end of the Loki series is because Sophie could not listen. She could not listen because she'd been working her entire life. And you can empathize with her and feel sorry for her because she was supposed to be trimmed. She was supposed to be basically killed off by the Time Variance Authority as a child. When you see her, when, the backstory, it's, hey, look, it's like an 8-year-old. And so you can understand, like, why she's so bitter and why she wants the end of the Time Variance Authority. But because she's been working for it, and when we meet her, she's an adult. We don't know how long, and she's Asgardian because she was taken from Asgard. So because she's a Loki variant, right? So we don't really know how old she is. She could be 40 years old. She could be 140 years old. So for decades upon decades, she's been working towards this one goal: tear down the TVA. Tear down whoever's behind what the TVA stands for.
Yeah.
And her actions screw things up because the guy who's behind it, he's like, no, I may not be a nice person. Like, I fully admit I'm an asshole. But you don't want to deal with all the other assholes of me that there are in the multiverse. Trust me. You think I'm bad? And then I'm sitting here warning you about everybody else? Like, yeah, I could be lying to you. Do you really want to find out? And Loki's sitting there going like, you may have a point. Do we really want to find out if his other versions of himself are worse than he is? But she's like, nope. Yeah. Yeah, I've been ignoring it. I've been deleting it. Seriously. I looked up Kokomo Grain and realized it had nothing to do with my work, so... Alright. Alright.
You know why we need better sex education? Other than because duh. Because men out there don't understand why in a baby food shortage, a baby formula shortage that is, you can't just start breastfeeding again, because that's not how boobs work. Especially for a lot of women.
Sorry, I would have rated. I just was getting called just as you were making that statement.
That's fine.
So basically, you were saying like some men don't, or people don't understand. Well, just breastfeed them.
Yeah.
There's a shortage. Just breastfeed them.
Clearly.
Where
Clearly, that's the solution.
where some women in general just don't make breast milk, and if you've stopped making it because your baby moved to formula for whatever reason, you can't just, for a lot of people, start making it again. That's not how your body works. If you stop needing it, you stop needing it.
Yeah.
I'd just like to state for the record, no matter what the shortage, the fact that people can't wrap their heads around the idea that we're basically teetering on the brink of a complete shutdown of our entire economic system is not lost on me. I understand how we're having all these shortages. Do you understand the concept that we literally are on the razor's edge of not having enough of a lot of things to make a lot of things? Like, I don't know what caused the baby formula shortage, but I'm just saying, like, building materials, food, clothing, all of it. Like, it's like we're running razor thin margins of stuff being here when it needs to be. Like, all it takes is one big disruption and everything's going to go to pieces real fast.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that last year around this time, like when the Panama Canal got all, it got messed up, like all backed up,
Right.
and people weren't getting, nobody was getting shit, right?
Right.
Nobody was getting shit, and it was like, yeah, all I need is one or two of those things, or small kind of things like that, or one big thing like that, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh snap.
Have they stated what's causing the? I haven't looked into it. What have they stated? What's causing the breast? Jesus, the infant formula shortages?
There was a recall. I know that's part of the problem, but I think it's also a mixture of just not being able to get supplies in.
Right. So, like I was saying, like we were fine until there was a recall, and so now that razor thin margin is gone, and now there's shortages. Republicans in the House have demanded an immediate response by the president to the formula shortage. Really? Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't want you to play the video. I wanted to see.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's just like shakehead.
Oh, wow. 5 states with the highest sold-out baby formula products include Tennessee, Texas, Iowa, and the Dakotas.
Alright, what was I thinking?
So, according to this, there was the recall. There's just a general shortage because of the pandemic, because supply chains are fucked.
Right.
And then there was a hoarding surge back in 2020.
Right.
And that ruined the supply system. And there just isn't enough to put out on the shelves.
That's just
tragic.
So what I've been saying is absolutely true. Because we cannot unfuck the system, the snarls we're seeing are just getting worse and worse and worse. So every time there's any disruption, the shockwave gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
I mean, we're seeing this with building supplies, where we had a snarl, okay, everything is fine. Oh no, another sterile. Oh shit. Oh no, another sterile. Oh shit. Oh no, another sterile. Shit. Wait, why is wire $300 a spool? It was $20 last year. Well, supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for calling the USGA.
I mean, seriously, I laugh every time people are like, but, I'm like, dude, I keep telling people, like, unless you're doing, like, repair work, emergency repairs, really should just hold off on doing any frickin' renovations or expansions or anything that you don't absolutely positively need, because the price of everything is so ridiculous, it's not going to get better. But I'm going to have my hot tub. Alright, well, $400 it is. I don't want to pay that. $400 it is. I'm done with people. Done with the whining about pricing and the whole problem is if other people, well, it becomes a game of they're like, well, but you shouldn't price that high. Like, we gotta pay that to get it, just to supply you with it.
Yeah.
Less people want it, easier it is for me to get it for cheaper, but you all still want it, so price is going up.
Meat is gonna go hella up because
Oh yeah,
avian
bird flu and yeah,
and a whole host of other reasons.
we're about to see mark my words, we're about to see a real shit show worldwide. It's been brewing, but it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Heyo. But yeah, I think for me, COVID ripped the veil away from everybody. Like, it started with like the healthcare system,
Right.
the work system, ripped it off and went, yeah, it's all rotten. This setup is shit. And following along with the snarl thing, like, it kept ripping off, like, yeah, how this is
Right.
gotten to places is shit. This is all messed up. And it's like, yeah, we were pretending it was fine for a while. And COVID was like, fuck you, rip everything off.
Well, COVID really basically made it so bad that there was no way to ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't have people working at home. Like, we can't move to that. Like, or it's too tough to move to that. COVID was like, hold my beer.
Now some companies are trying to move back to the old ways, and COVID's not even actually gone yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I laugh at the whole you will return to the office and everybody's quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, I'm not dying for your paycheck.
It's like, you don't pay me enough to court death. Here's my 2 weeks. Yeah.
Well, what they found is so much of it is the office environment is not required with where, communication technology has reached to. It's just we don't have to have people stacked up in offices.
Not when they can just talk to each other on Slack.
Right.
Or have a nice
Slack,
video call.
Yeah, Slack or Teams or, something. Right?
Right.
You don't need a manager wandering around your office doing jack shit, just watching people, making sure they're working. No, as long as your shit gets turned in, you're working.
Right. I'm not saying that office spaces shouldn't exist, but I think we're proving over and over again that the having to be in the office every day just isn't necessary anymore. We just don't have to live that kind of world.
Yeah.
Ooh, cold chill.
Yeah, and they finally they let us know. They finally at this point because people kept asking me like, "Oh, are you going back into the office anytime soon?" I'm like, "Nope, probably never going back into the office ever," because they haven't said anything about it, right?
Right.
And so finally we get a letter from work, right? Because previously it was I'm still paying taxes for where the center I worked in, right?
Right.
Well, now this is the last year I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to pay taxes for where I actually live and where I'm actually working.
Right.
So I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. Like, I'm not working in this city anymore, so you know.
Right.
And also like the way that our company like rearranged on how it was using the building I was working in. They basically, because like when I went there last summer because they didn't want to have like banging on the roof in my calls, I saw 4 people in the office and one of them was a cleaning dude.
Right.
Mm.
Mm.
Itchy. What is on your shirt?
What, my shirt?
Yes, the only
Like
other
Cars?
person I can see.
Well, I don't know. I don't have you guys' video up.
Oh, I'm sorry. But what did you say? Cars?
I hope it's like Cars. I don't know. I just pulled. This is the first day in 6 months, probably 8, that it's been warm enough for me to wear anything other than a hoodie. It's like 80 right now. Which probably doesn't seem amazing to you who lives in freaking hell, but like, for me, this is ridiculous for the weather to be like this.
It's 69 right now.
Nice.
It's gonna be 90 this weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna drop after this, but I was just like, you.
I am looking forward to later today because my mom comes home.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Yay! No more having to, go visit her every other day in that lovely facility.
Isn't that how it always goes with those rehabilitation centers? It's like,
Yeah.
God, what the hell? That's what my grandpa, when he broke his hip, it was like, oh my God, what the fuck is this place?
All right, there we go.
Welcome back.
Need some extra cash in your pocket? No, that's called fuck you, I do my job. Oh, wait a minute, did I escape my thought bubble? Oop. How to make it for more info worth points, more money for you? Well, no shit. No shit. That doesn't mean that I'm coming in to do extra work. Because I am not jeopardizing my dedication to one goddamn client just to go in and make more money. Yeah, like because I know I mentioned before, I take calls for Little Tykes at time in the past.
Right.
And I was like, well, let me see if I can get the day after Easter off. Because
Right.
the day after Christmas, I was required to take Little Tykes calls, which is understandable. That's part of being on that program. There are certain days of the year you have to be at work unless you're like really sick. You have to be at work and take those calls. Day after Christmas, day after Easter, that kind of thing.
Right.
But I have like imagine my surprise. I was taking those calls after like two months not taking them, but I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Because I was like, well, I thought it was dedicated. No, you're blended, and you're going to be taking these calls. As I said before, you're going to be taking these. Okay, I'm blended, but I have not said hi in the Little Tykes thread on Teams. I am not liking anything. I am not reacting to anything. I'm like, I'm hiding from y'all as best I can. So I was like, well, let me see if I can get the day after. It was a Monday. Let me see if I can get the day after Easter off. The worst they'll say is no, and I'll deal with it. Imagine my slackjaw surprise when, oh, approved. What? What? No one told you no? That she can't have this day off? Okay. I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth.
Take it and run.
I was like, I was expecting, I was like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I was expecting a DM. And like, oh, we saw that you got this day off. Would you mind switching it for another day in the week? I was expecting that DM to show up, and it didn't. I was like, all right. So, yeah, I was like, I'll just sit over here. And I got another massage that day because I at that point I was like, I could tell when I move my neck back and forth and it starts cracking or clicking. And I was like, time to get the knots worked out. And the guy who was doing it, he was like, what do you, because he got to my upper back and he was like, what do you do for a living? I was like, it's like telemarketing. He's like, I could tell you're, customer service telemarketing. He's like, I can tell your back is like one solid mass of knots. I'm like, yeah, I should probably get this looked at more, but I don't. Because, yeah. America.
America.
Fuck yeah. Oops, wait a minute.
So here in a couple weeks, I'm going to Utah, of all places.
You must be so excited.
Am I? I think
I don't know.
I think I am. Just maybe. I don't know. We'll see how excited I am on the day of. Because we're driving to Utah.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that's going to be so much fun.
Oh yeah, I know we have to, we're thinking about taking a vacation this summer and we have to figure out where we're going. And if we're driving, if we're going somewhere, we're going to drive, if we're going to go somewhere, we're going to fly. Because I was like, well, do we want to, because I was like, well, I was thinking like of going to a beach. Because I'm like, I just want to go somewhere and just be like, all right, burn me to a crisp. And I was like, well, do we want to go somewhere like Mexico? Just that we don't have to, just throwing it out there. And he's like, well, hubby was like, well, I'd want to see what the COVID Schlitzitz looks like before we go outside of the United States. I'm like, I valid. Because he's like, I just don't want to go somewhere where, like, because where we went to our honeymoon is one of the options that I threw out there. I'm like, we can go, because I know you like it, I like it, it's a great place to go. He's like, yeah, with Sunset Beach, you have your own house, right? You're not in a hotel with a bunch of other people, which a lot of places like Cancun and other popular destination places, like destination beach places, it's a lot of hotels and you're packed in there with other people. So, if there is any chance of people saying, fuck it, I don't care if I have COVID, I'm going on vacation, they're basically screwing everyone around them. So, like, because it's like a little community, like, you drive up and down the streets or ride your bike up and down the streets, you got your own little house, you can kind of avoid people or try to social distance as much as you can, like, the correct way. So,
Yeah,
without having to worry too much.
we got a timeshare for the 5 days we'll be there.
Cool.
It's got a pool and a hot tub, which I'm looking forward to.
Yay.
Yeah. We'll be going to the D&D Adventure Park twice, and then there's an aquarium in there somewhere.
Awesome.
I love me a good aquarium. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just not looking forward to the drive.
Mm-hmm.
You kids are going to take vacations. You make me laugh.
Let me see here. Because I know the last time we went with hubby's family, we specifically timed it. So, because we left on a Friday morning, and we kind of drove in tandem with hubby's parents and then 2 of his aunts. Because we met at a like central location and got some of their stuff in our car because they had 4 people in their car and we only had the 2 of us and our dog, and then drove down. And then Friday night, stop, stay at a hotel. Saturday morning, go to one of his cousins lives in North Carolina, kind of on the way to Sunset. So, and they just like recently finished building their house, so they wanted to show everybody their house because everybody's coming down. So, like, hey, we'll host everybody for breakfast. And then so that was specifically Sunset Beach, North Carolina. There we go. It's by the fastest route, leaving now, 10 hours and 4 minutes. So, granted, you could, if you left at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, you could get there on like a Friday. You could get there by Friday night, and or if I think the login's on a Saturday. I think it's Saturday to Saturday usually. At least that's what it was when we went a couple times. So
Let's see. Where the fuck is this park again? It's like a 12-hour drive. Because, Utah's on the other side of Nevada, and we have to drive through Nevada to get to it.
Right.
I've been doing this about 2.5 hours. I don't know if you feel like continuing or.
We can probably call it here. We're not saying anything anymore, so.
Right.
It's also partially why I was like, I might want to say something. So.
Alright, peeps. Thanks for podding with me, as always.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
I hope you all have wonderful days and shit.
Right.
You as well, Miss Kikis. Toodaloos.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you once again for listening to the super happy fun Jabbertron Tea Party podcast with Kiki, Cupcake, and Miss. Stay safe out there, my fellow internet beings, and treat each other well, or else society may collapse, or something.